of the Going Over podcast. Don't mind my voice. I've just been terribly sick with a sinus infection and hacking up the worst phlegm of all time. It is I, your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, 43-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb, joined alongside. I'm starting to get the hang of that poop right now. My life, touchy subject, life podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. Paul, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Just fresh off a training session, man. So it's always fun, man. Coming off a training session, especially when guys are fucking knocking themselves loopy and shit. Just
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Just a
favorite.
fun time.
That is my absolute favorite when that happens.
You're like, yeah, good. Take a couple more of those bumps. Fucking rattle your fucking dome off the canvas a couple times.
Hey, Big Paul, would you hit me with a couple choke slams so I can take a 10, 12-foot high school boy bump?
That's it.
Oh, man. Well, a lot going on, man. We have been busy. We went from ugly. We went from sparky. We went from, skill, Oliver John. We touched on the Raja Jackson situation. We were the first ones to touch on it. And then we came back like a creepy pervert in the dark, crisp night, and we touched all over it again. And speaking of touching all over things again, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We don't always talk about the big time, right? We don't always talk about the WWE or the AEW, but a lot going on more recently now with women's wrestling. Here we come. WrestlePalooza. AEW has moved their event to 3 p.m. because WWE is hunting them down, man. You got a big event coming up, we're going to hunt you down. And they're hunting them down because Tony Khan is paying wrestlers an absurd amount of money, which WWE's not worried about them like taking them over or anything like that. Tony Khan's making WWE, TKO, the Endeavor, he's making those guys dig into their pockets to have to pay wrestlers more money. But here we go, WrestlePalooza, the big talk. We're seeing it happen. AJ Lee could be coming back. Actually, WWE looks like they have completely fucking given it away, or the idiots on the online merchandising was like, hey, they're going to be some AJ Lee merchandise. And they're like, oh, we'll check back in a couple weeks. Thanks, guys. Spoiler alert. And more recently, Rhea Ripley situation in France, and that's going to happen. So, I mean, what are your thoughts right now? We don't really touch on women's wrestling very much, but it seems like AJ Lee hasn't been back in 10 years. This is the perfect opportunity. Why not? Vince McMahon's not there no more. The evil empire is being ran by a money-making machine. And your thoughts on Rhea Ripley just being completely swarmed by fans in airports. Are we going too far with the female talent in professional wrestling?
Well, and you think about it, it's like you think about female wrestlers they probably feel, as much as they think that they can defend themselves and things like that, they probably feel a little, maybe overmatched or, I think just females in general, you feel like you can be overpowered. Like, obviously I've got 5 daughters. It's a huge issue for me, right? I don't want my daughters going out into situations where I feel like they could be in danger, right? So I feel like this kind of touches on that same type of thing, right? You got fans that are just, and I don't know if they're entitled or what it is, man. I mean, I feel like I've experienced this in all types of aspects of my life, right? Whether it's, for me playing college basketball, you're somewhat of a celebrity at your university, right? So you have people wanting to get your autograph, and a lot of times invading your space. Um, feel, and I don't know if it's entitlement or what it is, but they feel like you should be signing autographs for them. You should be saying hello to them, things like that. And in most cases, you do, right? You're feeling good. Maybe you just played a game, whatever it was, but or you see them in public, and it's just a fan of yours, and they just want to get your autograph, but I feel like I don't know if it's just people are getting too close, they're getting too comfortable. We talk about that in a lot of different senses. Yeah, and I don't know if it's you have a lot of cases where you don't have guardrails in independent shows, so the fans are close and they feel like they can touch the wrestlers, and in so many cases, we're letting people believe that they're a part of the wrestling business. So they feel like, oh, it's no big deal. I'm friends with these guys, or we're buddies, or whatever. And I don't know if some people are like that, if they are truly friends with these fans. I've heard a lot of veteran wrestlers, talk strongly against that. These guys are people that are paying you money to watch you wrestle. These people are not your buddies. Don't allow them to have that relationship with you. I've heard you say it, countless times. It's like, yeah, you're coming to a show, you're watching me perform and all these things, but we are not friends. Like, we're not going to go out to lunch together, we're not going to go hang out or whatever. We're friends on a social media networking website, right? A lot of times, and I think a lot of people, maybe they mistake that for we're actually friends. And so I don't know what the situation is. These guys are getting too close to the wrestlers, right? They're swarming them and putting them in a place where they're feeling endangered, right? So, and I think that's definitely crossing the line, and maybe it's just because of my family structure with having all daughters. Maybe it hits home a little bit more for me than it would for other people. But I mean, what are your feelings about this?
About you having 5 daughters and living
No,
with 6 women, I think that's
fans getting too close.
I think you're a better man than I am, Big Paul. Here's the thing, man, and I said it all along. Women are a different story because you just don't know, you know what I mean? Some women like the attention. Some women like the positive attention, some women like the negative attention. Some women get offended by things at certain people and don't get offended at other people. You don't know. It goes with the male the same way, it goes with the female the same way. I feel, my feelings with the fans. Everyone would be like, hey, go out there and sign autographs at intermission. I'd be like, I'd tell the promoter, yeah, sure. And then I'd go out back and drink a beer or hang out or do something. Just I wouldn't go out there unless it's like a fan experience where I'm getting paid to sign autographs or something. Do the old school way, man. Catch me before the event when I'm coming to the building. Catch me around town, wherever I'm eating at. If you're gonna be a creep the right way. You know what I mean? Catch me, catch me outside. How about that? As that girl would say. Maybe we'll get her on here. But my belief is we definitely bring too many people into the business that don't belong in the business, whether it's because they got a camera and they're taking photos, or whether it's because they're filming. Maybe they got a YouTube channel, maybe they're doing a podcast. Just maybe they're willing to buy you a double from In and Out afterwards, man. They might be buy you your wrestling gear, and a lot of us that claim to be professional wrestlers, and I don't mean this hammering on anyone. If you think we're talking about you, we probably are, right? Respectfully, but I just feel like that is a place where we shouldn't cross, because with security and stuff at our show, I've seen so many times. I've seen it at your show. I've seen it at every show, and it's always this big fucking altercation before an event. These fans that aren't even part of the company, just because they know somebody, are so comfortable just walking into the building. before the event. I got to shit. I got to piss. I want to talk to this person. Oh, I just wanted to hang out. It was hot outside. It's like, what in God's name are you possibly thinking in your head? Like, I had someone hit me up and tell me, hey, we need to take this picture with everybody who has these jackets, and a really great lady. But she's like, we got to get in there before the event. I said, absolutely not. You know, we'll have to take it afterwards because we get in the building later now. We got to set up, and we only got 2.5, 3 hours to do stock footage and promos and interviews and everything that we have to do. And that incident that we covered twice, that we talked about on the podcast twice, I was listening to Kevin Nash, and Nash literally told the guy on there, he said, who's to blame? He said, who brought the mark? Who brought the mark? And that's what I think about it is. If we're running an event and we're paying for a building, we're paying for the deposit, the insurance, the concession, the merchandise, paying the wrestlers, all the gas, the flyers, and everything that went into it. We're running a business here. If you are a fan and your contribution is as a fan to support my business, if you want to come in the building beforehand, kick me a couple $100 and we'll make it a VIP fan experience for you. You know what I mean? If you're gonna just disrespect us like that and just take complete advantage of knowing somebody, and then to me, it's like some of these fans are just way too comfortable. And I think when the wrestlers, especially online, what's your thoughts on that? Because I want to touch on that subject. What is your thoughts on wrestlers or supposed professional wrestlers having trolling and being in comment sections on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Kick, TikTok, all these names that 10 years ago I would have never came out of my mouth?
Of course. Well, I think you and I are kind of on the same page with that, right? You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff getting posted that you might go, hey, I'd like to contribute to this conversation. But in most cases, that's exactly what it is. It's people trolling for attention, right? They want you to respond, right? They want to stir the pot, all these different things. It's like, you just got to stay out of that stuff, and I know a lot of people like to, share their opinion, whatever it is, political opinion or their opinion on pro wrestling or whatever it is, different aspects, different types of matches, all these different things, right? You have people that like certain things, and then you have people that don't like certain things, and I don't know. These people think that it's the right way to go to bash something because you don't like it, and I've mentioned it before, and I've heard it hundreds of times about people saying like, there's all different types of pro wrestling, right? You can look at it like ice cream, or you can look at it however you want, but there's certain wrestling that people enjoy, and there are certain people that certain type of wrestling that people absolutely can't stand, right? I could think about you could draw the comparison with deathmatch wrestling, right? I've made that comment before that there's I feel like there's a place for it as long as there is stories being told. I don't think it should be just hitting each other with weapons. But at the same time, I also know that there is a huge population of people that love it, right? So there is absolutely no reason for me to go out there and just start bashing it, right? It's not my cup of tea, right? I don't enjoy it, but that doesn't mean that there aren't a ton of people out there that do enjoy it. So I don't know. You and I have kind of traded this back and forth. Like, just fucking stay to yourself, man. Like, just
for real.
Yeah, just sit back and enjoy, laugh, pull up your box of popcorn or whatever, and just watch the shit go on. But a lot of times you're looking at it, and all we're doing is we'll send it back and forth to each other, or you'll say, hey, did you see such and such posted this today? And it's like, oh, fuck, let me go check it out. What'd they say? And then all of a sudden, now it's that person starts getting bashed, right? Their opinion isn't the same as someone else's. So then someone else is going to jump in the mix. And
then they double down.
Oh, fuck, man. And then it's just like, it just gets ridiculous, right? It's like, But at the same time, if you're gonna go out there and put your opinions online, as much as people think, oh, I can just delete it or whatever, it's like inevitably someone's taking a screenshot of that and they're
Well,
gonna
yeah.
send it to everyone, right?
Oh
Hey,
yeah.
did you see what such and such said? Right. So it's just one of those things. Like, go ahead and fucking bury yourself and look like an idiot online, or catch a whole bunch of heat, or alienate yourself from a certain group, right? Whether it's pro wrestlers or whatever other subject, go ahead and do that. You're just burning bridges. That's about all I can think of is, you're making comments on there. You're gonna rub someone the wrong way. It's gonna cost you bookings that maybe you want to go make or whatever. So who knows?
Well, that's the thing, man. People are just waiting. They're waiting for you to post something. They're searching for something that they find offensive. And there's a certain crew of those people. I say it all the time. If you know where I ate breakfast at, it's because you know me. I don't need to put that stuff on there. I don't need my relationship. My piece to become your opinion. You know what I mean? I don't need to read the comment section. And on the other hand, too, I don't need to reply if somebody comments something bad to me, because who gives a fuck, right? Like, no matter what, at the end of the day, somebody that's commenting on something, a show post, a primetime university post, anything, if I'm promoting my business and I'm minding my own business, and you decide you're going to go on there and you're just going to take shots, you know what I mean? There's a lot of guys on there that take shots, man. Every single day, I said, there's a certain guy that was just in my comment section, calling me and Rick old, you know what I mean? Saying that we're gatekeeping and all this stuff. And it's like, we are old, dude. You know what I mean? And so are you. But there's no point in arguing with that person or even saying that person's name, because I've never had half these people I've never had an issue with in my life, never even talked to. But then if you're going to post something, if you are dumb enough, and that's what I'm telling you out there. If you are fucking stupid enough to use this excuse, it's my social media. If you don't like it, block me. Let me tell you something. I always see people say that. Hit the block button, hit the block button, hit the block button. Bro, it's called a screenshot. And these people out here that you think are your friends, that you talk shit to other people about, when you block someone, that same friend is screenshotting all your shit because you didn't block them and sending it right to the person that you blocked. If you are online commenting on shit fans are commenting on, if you are a wrestler trolling other wrestler stuff, hey man, if you want to go on there and say happy birthday, if you want to go on there and say like a little joke or something to whatever, be positive, go for it, man. But if you are a pro wrestler and you say you're a pro wrestler and you are interacting in childish behavior on social media, are you really a professional? I mean, and we say it all the time. If you think we're talking about you, maybe we are, but I don't think so. I see it all the time. I see it from within my own company. So I'm not just talking about everyone else. I had to tell someone the other day, I was like, did you really have to engage with, because I see all the comments. I'm looking at them. I see them. I just won't respond because I don't need to. I'm over here doing my own thing. You know what I mean? Like I don't give a shit about your opinion of professional wrestling. If your opinion of professional wrestling is worth a damn, then I know who you are already, and you can go out there live in front of an audience and execute it. If you can't, it doesn't mean you have to be a wrestler either. If you're a promoter and owner and you can execute putting fans in the seats, if you're a booker that knows how to book good wrestling, but you don't wrestle, all these things. If you're a cameraman that can execute getting in all the positions, an editor, things like this, all these things that do help professional wrestling, if you can execute your job in this line of work, I think you're professional, and I will listen to what you have to say. If you cannot execute, because I'm watching all your shit online because everybody just seems to want to post it, you know.
Right, exactly. You know what it is? It's like you could put it like this. It's like if I am if I care about your opinion, then I'll probably ask you about what's going on, right? It would be like, hey, what'd you think about this match? Hey, what do you think about this poster? Does it look good? Does it look like shit? Should I change it? Whatever it is, if I respect your opinion, then I will ask your opinion. Otherwise, it's one of those deals. Like, yeah, post whatever you want. Like, hopefully you're in the pro wrestling business because you've got thick skin, right? And you're hoping to get reactions from mostly the crowd, but you're used to getting reactions from people in general, whether that's fans shitting on your product or other wrestlers taking shots at you or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not going to bother you because it's like, most of the time you've heard worse, right? You hear about the old school wrestlers that are getting batteries and shit and piss and all this stuff thrown at them and fucking coins and stuff like that. I think about that playing basketball overseas. That's the type of treatment you get as an American, because they think that your opinion of yourself is very high and you're a good player and you're rubbing them in their face and they don't like it, and I think that correlates exactly to pro wrestling, right? Somebody doesn't like what you're doing or they can't do what you're doing, and somehow that makes you a bad person, so they're going to take shots at you and talk shit about you. So but it's just like we're talking about, it's like I don't give a shit what you're saying. I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I'm going to try to run my business. I'm going to try to make money. And I don't know. And obviously in my situation, it's, I'm trying to give other people opportunities that I feel like I may have gotten throughout my life, whether that's in pro basketball or wrestling or whatever it is. You try to take those good experiences and you try to share them with other people. And, and I've told you and anyone who is loyal and will listen that, eventually something's going to go extremely right. And everyone who's had your back or, if you want to call them ride or die or whatever you want to call them, the people that are, with you on the ride are going to benefit in the long run.
Well, here's my thing, man. If these people online would just put the same amount of effort into sitting on their phone and Facebook or whatever social media platform they're on, if they would spend the same amount of time sharing and tagging or collaborating or whatever the fuck it is now, if they spend more time training in the gym and training in the ring, they would find out that that time is going to be used more. Life is too short. Life is too short, and I see too many comments every day. I see you, all of you. I see you out there, and then I know what I'm doing. At my age, I know how much I'm training, how much I'm promoting. A lot of people say Zack draws good numbers because he's up in the sticks. It's like, no, I'm just out there doing my thing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm promoting, and then I help. I help you because we're friends, and that's what you want. I'm not worried about what anybody else thinks because their opinion doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because they're not working with you. They're not working with me. So we're not doing the same shit. I love when people say like we're competing against each other. No, you're not competing with me. I mean, John Cooper is right here in town. I run in town too. I help John, John helps me. We're not competing against each other because it's not a competition. One company and another company, it doesn't matter if they're in the same town. We're not competing against each other because there's no television deals, there's no production going on here. A lot of this stuff is just mean girl shit. You know what I mean? Just mean girl shit. Yeah. Well, you said this about me, and that's not right that you said it. And then usually the way it goes is for a minute they'll be like, "Oh, I'm standing on my block me then. This is my Facebook." And then next thing you know, it's an excuse, it's an apology. Who gives a fuck? Stand if you're going to be dumb enough to post some stupid shit, stand on your shit, man. I get it. Something's going on mentally in somebody's head. You know, I was addicted. There was a point I wasn't happy with me, so my addiction wasn't a behavioral thing. It Alcohol became my solution. You know what I mean? It was my solution because it made me feel good. And that's what these guys are doing when they're online. They're waking up in the morning. They're not going for a walk. Or a run. They're not going to the gym right away. They're not eating healthy or working towards their dream. They're going online and they're like, oh, uh, AEW Dynamite, yeah, Mercedes Monet, uh, 9 belts, this title match, these guys are better. Who cares, dude? Just get up. If you got a goal, just go for it, man. I used to sit there and do the same bullshit. I used to sit there and bash on people and we're better than you, blah blah. And where's it get you? Nowhere, because you're losing focus on what your goal is. And now you're worried about someone else. A wise man once told me, mind your own fucking business. You know what I mean? Best advice you'll ever get. Mind your own fucking business. So we talk about this social media. Something else I really wanted to talk to you about. I was listening to Paul Heyman talk about Raven, right? And I forgot what show he was on, but he was saying, Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, bless his heart, didn't know how to book Raven. On his best and brightest day, they couldn't have booked Raven. And then the crowd was like, oh, and he's like, don't worry, guys. It's not against Eric. On your best and brightest day, you guys couldn't have booked the Raven character because you didn't create it. You don't understand where the Raven character comes from. And I recently just had a wrestler talk to another wrestler and said, if I come back, I want like creative control of my character. And I thought it was funny because I was like, well, I came up with the character. I came up with the gear, the name, the music, the catchphrase, everything like that. But it's like, especially in indie wrestling, you're like, I want creative control of my character. And it's like, you ain't making anybody any money for that to happen. You know what I mean? So saying that is just like a mark statement. But I just wanted to talk about like the actual art of creating these characters, man, because we were talking about online, man. If half these online warriors and defenders put that type of effort into their character and storytelling and the origins and the backstory and where they came from and defended their honor in their wrestling character, man, what a hotbed of wrestling we'd have out here right now in the Reno, NorCal, Bay Area.
Absolutely. I mean, and I think that that's funny, that um, you have those people that you go, man, you've got something, but you need to put more work into it, right? That character needs a little bit more development. You need a little, to push it a little bit further. And I don't know how many times we've asked people that thing. It's like, tell me about your character. What does your character do? And I know I've been asked that question before, and you really have to think about it, right? You have to go, well, what is this character that I'm playing? Like, and you need to just put yourself in those situations, right? I talk all the time about, I'd be going to the gym and then I'd go like, all right, I got, I'm going to spend 8 or 10 minutes in the tanning bed, right? All right. So I'm going to just start cutting promos in my character about different wrestlers, right? What would my character say? What is my character's point of view, and just things like that that can expand your character so much, and can help you tell a story in the ring, right? You hear so many guys that they're handed a promo from some writer, and they know their character so well that they say, my character wouldn't say this. This doesn't sound like my character. Things like that, right? It's one of those things, man. You have to take a deep dive and go, what does my character do? What does my character think? Things like that. Just like, would your character be viciously, violently trying to hurt a body part, perhaps? Is my character like sinister like that? Would they? Are they trying to hurt people? Are they trying to out wrestle people? Like what is your character's drive? What makes them tick? What is success for your character? Things like that, man. Getting into the mindset. You hear so many people talking about they're in character 24/7, right? And pops into my head is MJF, right? I just saw some clips of him like signing autographs and stuff like that, and people taking pictures, and it's just these little subtleties, right? His character is an asshole, right? He's gonna do little things, like he's taking a picture with this fan and he's putting the number 1 up, except he's putting it up right in front of the fan's face, so you can't fucking see the fan's face. Yeah. And it's like a dad trying to take a picture of his kid with MJF. It's like, awesome. You can't see your son's face because, he's acted like he's doing something nice, but he's got a finger right in front of your kid's face. So you're going to take that photo and you're going to look back at it later and you go, that son of a bitch, man. I can't even see my kid,
Well, we're so stuck on doing real shoot stuff. Like after the show, I one time I watched Evan Thomas, and I think it was a guy named Cocky Johnson, and it was an East Bay pro, and he was standing there, and we were leaving, and Cocky was out there, and he had his belt, and it's still in his spandex, and he was talking to the families and the friends that came and watched him, and Evan just walked through the middle right up to him and was like, "What's up, motherfucker?" And like I was sitting here outside the circle, like watching, like, oh, like I was becoming a fan, because he's like, "Hey, I'll beat you for that fucking belt anytime." And he like barreled through all the family and friends. And then I could see Cocky Johnson go, "Yeah, you want a shot at the belt?" Ha 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 ha. And I watched Evan stop and drop his bag and turn around. And I'm like, oh fuck, he's coming back. You know what I mean? He's and we get to what I mean by that is, and I just use that as an example, is there's guys that the drama with the fans and the audience and stuff like that afterwards and all this stuff is where they really like, this is my character, believe who I am. But it's like, no, we have to get this. There's so many different ways to get this character over. We can get this character over when the fans see us before the show. If they do, we can get this character from the time we walk through the curtain, out the curtain, vignette videos, interviews with somebody, a promo with nobody, the same way in the ring. We can get this character over. Like I was talking to Christian Sky, and I'm like, okay, so Annabelle is Annabelle Sky. So that's your sister. Is it are you guys foster kids? Or is it a half sister, adopted sister, a full sister? You know what I mean? Nash has been with her since you guys were kids. It's family. That's why would she sacrifice herself for, we get that she's this guy's boyfriend, but why would she sacrifice herself for you and put it all on the line? And that's so you guys could win the tag team championships. Well, tell me that story now. It's time. Like Paul Heyman was saying about Raven, he was a sympathetic character that didn't get sympathy because he was such a good heel. It's like he's from a broken home. His father beat him and mercifully. You know what I mean? He had bad home, bad father. But Raven would tell you this story as the character started to develop. And I feel like a lot of people aren't telling us who they are in their promo, right? They're just not telling us who they are in their promo. Like when I was talking to Christian today, I was like, I don't look at you guys with the way we've built you up in the vignettes and everything. I don't look at you guys as the type of people that go, you know what, Jason Xavier, Nathan Brick, you want these tag belts? We're coming to get you. No, I want you to, our family. Since we were kids, that's why she sacrifices for us. And he may not be blood, but we bleed together. And you're sitting here going, oh shit. Do you remember when my father, yeah, when our father left us outside? He dropped us off at the fairgrounds and never, you know what I mean? Just something. Never picked us up. He never came back home either. He left mom. And you're sitting here going, holy shit, the tag team titles are on the line. And these fucking kids are demented. They're tortured. You know what I mean? So they're not really worried about who their opponents are. If they think they're going to lose the belt, they've been through way too much shit in their life for these two good-looking athletes that just train together. They're not enough to beat this cohesive unit because they're not talking like regular. You know what I mean? So we there's no character. People are like, this is my gimmick. But like, what? Who are you? We ask people that all the time. Who are you? And they're like, well, I'm Bobby Magoo, and I'm 6'2", and I'm coming for you. And it's like, cool, Bobby Magoo, but like, did you go to a university? Are you a product of fucking rape? Is fucking are you bisexual? I mean, what's going on here, Bobby Magoo? I want to know. I need to know some backstory on Bobby Magoo. And you could probably take a stupid name like that if you had some backstory and a little bit of creativity, and you could probably catch normal people's interest.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and I think that that's just something that uh, you have to develop that. You know, we talk about pro wrestling is characters, and I know in some cases you've probably gotten away with that, right, or gotten away from that, where you're, you know, these are just regular named people, right? They're just, you know, I'm just a wrestler, I'm just a fighter, or whatever. There isn't much backstory with a lot of these people, you know. So that's what makes it a lot more interesting, is when you start getting those type of stories from someone and you go, okay, well, this is where this person's from, and this is how they got to the place that they're at, and this is you know, why they wrestle the way that they do, or whatever. You know, you think about what I was just talking about is like, you know, how into hurting people are you? And it goes, you know, it kind of goes to what you were just saying. Like, if your backstory is you were abused, then maybe that's the reason. You're, you know, hey, someone inflicted pain and punishment on me, so now that's the way that I treat other people, right? Because I'm just I've been raised like that, so this is the way we do things, right? We try to hurt people because someone hurt me, so that's the how I'm going to go about my business, is I'm going to try to hurt other people. And, you know, and maybe you've got the, you know, the Kurt Angle type thing where, you know, you're a high level athlete, right? And you think that everybody looks at you the same way you look at yourself, right? You're oblivious that you know, you come off as a, you know, a cocky you know, guy that thinks that his shit don't stink, right? You think everyone should love me because I'm a Olympic gold medalist and I won a gold medal for this country. And but the way that you come across is very very cocky and I'm better than you type of mentality. So you know, telling those stories, you know, regardless of what your background is, you know, I think that there's a story to be told with all these different scenarios, you know. And as you're talking, I'm thinking about all these different characters like that we watch footage of, and I'm going, fuck, man, I wonder what this guy's, what is this guy's story? What are these guys' backgrounds? Like, how much more interesting could these characters be if they put some more thought into what their backstory was, you know? So I think it's
I don't understand that.
Right. I think that's a great thing to do, man. It's a great, hopefully, you know, like we always say, hopefully somebody gets something out of this podcast and we see some of this stuff, you know, coming to the surface in the near future where you go, hey, this guy, I want to get this guy on my show. He seems interesting, and maybe you've motivated them to kind of dive a little deeper into what their character is and what it's about. So it's not, you know, I use cookie cutter all the time. You know, I always, you know, for me, just being the size that I am, I feel like it's a backhanded thing that I say to people in general, just in regular everyday life, you know, like, cause I can't buy clothes off the shelf. So for me, it's always like, yeah, hey, I'm not a cookie cutter like you, man. I can't just go to fucking Mervin's or Target and grab whatever I want off the shelf and, you know, and just put it on, right? I have to go to specialty stores. I have to order stuff online to get the things that are going to fit me properly. You know, I just can't walk into just any establishment. You know, I forgot my suitcase and I can just go anywhere and grab some clothes like most people can, you know.
100%. 100%, man. Well, I mean, that's the thing too, is the development of something. You got to start somewhere. I see so many names. It's like, what are you? You're just an independent wrestler? You're just a wrestler? That's what you're gonna give us. My name is Stephon Marbury, right? Like, my name is Scottie Pippen or whatever the fuck. It's like that's your name, and these guys make up creative names, and a lot of their gear is not even really custom gear. But I don't see what the I don't see what their character is. I don't see any development or any thought process put into anything. You know, I was watching a promo with Kurt Angle staring down The Undertaker, and he was telling him, he said, you know, you're this tall, you're this big, you're the dead man. And he says, but you know, there's one thing that we have in common. When that bell rings, I am every bit as maniacal and vicious as you are. You know what I mean? Like, here's this Olympic gold medalist with a ton of personality, and here's this biker who's actually played a character that he's dead with a pallbearer, you know, and an urn. He's done this, and he's switched back and forth from this nostalgic gimmick. And here's this Olympic gold medalist, and it was so. He had such passion when he told him, but I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. When the fucking bell sounds, this Olympic gold medalist is every bit as dangerous as this dead man who's impervious to pain. You know what I mean? Like, because he is a wrestling machine, and this guy is the phenom. And you buy into that stuff, man. You know, it's like I tell people always ask me if you ever notice, I work the chin, I work the neck and the chin area a lot. That's what I work. You know, a lot of elbow drops to the neck, a lot of working around this area, a lot of forearms, a lot of European uppercuts, knife edge chops right at the trachea. I do a lot of that stuff because my finishing move is the kick, you know? And if I can wear down the jaw and the neck area and weaken this up during the match, then it's the kick. And I'm never going after you with the kick. I'm like a counter puncher. So I'm trying to get you moving forward or throwing yourself off balance. So when you lean in, that's when the full extension comes, and that's what knocks you out. But I'm working on this area. I'm not working your back. I'm not working your shoulder. I could care less about that stuff. Like, if that gets injured in the match and you start grabbing it, then I'll get on that because it's a weekend move. But I'm a counter striker, you know, unless the guy's smaller than me. I have no need to go out there and try to out muscle and out power somebody. So my offense is my offense comes off of your offense. And people like don't get that about wrestling. Like when they see me moving side to side, and I'm always moving backwards. And then when I engage, I'm always like I'm using momentum. My 26 years, my character has used momentum because I'm a counter striker in that ring. And I don't think you can find a lot of people that would understand what that means for their character. I have an understanding of it. Shawn Michaels just threw the super kick. You know what I mean? He's like, sweet chin music. Me, there's a reason why I'm throwing this thing. I'm trying to get you off balance. I'm trying to get you to throw that right hand so I can move to the outside of it. And then when you think you're going to cross over your body and hit me instead of repositioning, my left hook is right there to knock you out because your head is and your momentum's turning this way. So I mean that's what I use, man. When I wrestle you, I am trying to play cat and mouse and not get caught. And then when I do get caught, I'm just trying to survive the barrage if I can until you make one mistake. I'm only going to get one opportunity against you, a guy your size. So if I can survive, if I have enough resiliency to survive what you can put on me as a veteran wrestler, then when you go for something, if I can have it scouted to counter like the choke slam or anything, but if I can counter or you can make one mistake and I can capitalize on that, then it's time for me to turn the gas, step on the gas pedal all the way and really give it everything I got just for the end. And that's my only hope of beating you. I would like to say if your finisher is a choke slam, the way I beat Big Paul is I don't get choke slammed. You know what I mean? I used to tell Sin that when it was a power bomb. Hey, he'd say, how you going to beat me? And I say, I'm just not going to let you power bomb me. I feel like if you don't power bomb me at all, I might have a chance to win this match. And I feel like if you don't choke slam me, I think that's my best chance to win the match, which is, I mean, pretty obvious, right?
Well, you would think so. That's unfortunately, it is probably far less obvious than we think it is. You know, because how many matches have we watched that you don't see the storytelling, and how many matches have I? That's the first thing that I ask people is, hey, what story were you trying to tell in this match? We have a new student that I was saying that exact same thing. He sent me a match, and I said, before I critique this, before I tell you what I think about it, I want you to tell me what the story was. What were you guys trying to accomplish? And it wasn't quite what I was asking about. He was telling me about the situation. Oh, it's going to be it's going to be a title match or whatever. But I'm like, no, like when I'm asking you what the story is, it's very much what you just said, right? I'm a big guy. My whole thing is I need to get my hands on you so I can basically slow you down, right? And if I feel like I get my hands on you, I feel like I've got a pretty good chance to beat you, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to impose my will if I'm able to get my hands on you. So that is the story that we're telling, right? And I feel like I get my hands on someone, I'm probably going to be able to hurt them and disable them and things like that. And that's going to give me a much better chance of beating them. So, and to your point, you're in the opposite situation. You're trying to avoid letting me get my hands on you because that is dangerous. So, and I don't know if enough people go into matches thinking about the story that we're going to tell, right? What is the story we're trying to tell? Do they think about, my finish involves, whatever, submission on the shoulder. So I'm going to try to weaken that body part. So it is going to make it easier for me to get a submission on that body part or whatever it is, like you're talking about working the chin and neck. So, it is weakened. So when you hit the kick, it's lights out. So I just don't know how many people are doing that, and hopefully, as a result of us talking about this particular subject, diving deep into your character and understanding what does your character do, what would they do, what is their mindset, all these different things, and understanding some of this storytelling is super important. But you go back to the Undertaker Kurt Angle thing, and I always think I don't feel like it is unrealistic to believe high level athletes are gonna take some shortcuts if they are presented to them, right? I am going to take every advantage of every little thing that I feel like I can get away with to be successful, right?
For sure.
So you just think about that, should you be wrestling with a broken neck? Probably a doctor would say no, right? But you're like, man, I want to win an Olympic gold medal, right? That's my goal. You talked about that. Like, what is your goal in pro wrestling? What is your goal? What is your character's goal? And when you have your sights set on something like that, you're going to kind of do whatever it takes to accomplish that goal, right? And in many cases, it's like I am willing to risk paralysis or getting permanently injured to achieve this goal, right? It means that much to me that I want to achieve this goal. So I'm going to take some risks, right? You find that with people that are, we talk about, I was actually thinking about a series that I saw on one of the streaming services, and I think it was that whole Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, all that stage of baseball where it's like, what edge are you willing to take, or what risk are you willing to take to potentially be the most prolific home run hitter, right? So I don't know. It's things like that. I think those high caliber athletes, they're looking for any little thing, any little shortcut potentially that's going to help them get over the top.
Well, you got to think about that too. Baseball was they had that strike, right?
Yep.
So the game was at its lowest lull of all time. All of a sudden, we come back from the strike, and fucking Sammy Sosa's got 24-inch pythons. Mark McGuire's knocking the ball out of the park. Barry Bonds, Rafael Palmeiro, Jose Canseco. Like, if you ask me, honestly, I think Major League Baseball kind of, just like Vince McMahon back in the day, he might have not been selling Hulk Hogan and all those guys to steroids, but he knew they were taking them. I'm pretty sure that was something that was talked about in MLB. They're like, man, we're coming off. We need to have a rock. This ball needs to fly out of the park. And they're like, all right, guys, we get on the sauce. You know what I mean? And with Barry, to be honest with you, Barry was taking stuff that he thought was okay to take at first. Once he started getting bigger and jacked up, then it's cycling through. But I think there was a lot of people that actually, I think they knew. I think they were like, yeah, man, go ahead. Pump them steroids up. Let's knock the ball out into fucking Melmac. You know what I mean? Hit Alf, hit ET up there at the fucking moon. But I mean, that's the thing, man. You got to look at it. A lot of people don't realize that the key to storytelling is like David Goliath. You know what I mean? I would like to see somebody in a mismatch, and then all we got to do when we're thinking about, everyone always thinks like what's a really cool cutoff we can do, right? Like, I want to do this because it's a cool cutoff. Well, maybe you should make your cutoff a mistake that is being made that changes the complete complexion of the way this match goes. Because if I'm wrestling, I like to use me and you. If I'm wrestling you and you end up going to punch me or something, or I end up slamming your hand, you're choking me, and you lift your hand up to hit me like this in the corner, and I grab your hand and I turn around and I hit it over the unprotected turnbuckle right there. and now your hand is messed up. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes remain in this podcast. 5 minutes. Just something simple like that. You're standing over the top of me, choking me as the heel, and everyone's like, man, Paul's gonna dominate Zack Reeb. And then you reach up to hit me, and as you bring your hand down, I catch it and I turn and I slam your wrist awkwardly. And then now and then say you have a manager, say it was Bradley Rotten over there, and you're looking at him, and I'm selling, and you're looking at the ref, and now the big giant's going, oh fuck, I think I broke my wrist, and your manager's going, what? Stop timeout. And then now you're turning around fighting me with one hand, and Zack Reeb's and the crowd starts to go, oh shit. And then you finally catch me with the left-handed choke slam, and you cover me, but you can't get the cover in because your hand hurts. 1, 2, and I kick out. And now we see the big giant. He's worried. Oh shit, I can't choke slam him with the right hand. It's hurt. The left didn't get the job done. I only had one good hand because I got it tucked in here. It's called a turning point in the match. And we don't see it anymore. And that's things that I try to get these young wrestlers to understand is I'm going to ask them their moves is like, we need turning points, a situation that puts the underdog or puts the guy we like in a precarious position to build sympathy, or a big monster like Yokozuna. He gets gassed, or he gets on the top rope and he's been dominant for so long. And then the rope's loose and he falls. And Brett's smart enough to get out of the way and hook the cover, and Piper's down there for 3. The reign of terror is over. Why? Because this smart wrestler down here and the ropes, it's like we don't think about like how these things can make the match more believable and they got to be able to get into it and identify what we're doing, right? So like with you, it's the perfect example. You're about to just hit me in the corner and I catch your hand and I just turn real quick and slam it, and not your hand, but your wrist. You sell your wrist flopping over that metal term, and now and then the camera zooms in on your face, and everybody in the crowd goes, wait a minute. We thought Mike Tyson was just about to dominate Riddick Bowe, but Riddick Bowe's about to fight back. You know what I mean? Rocky's about to fight back on Ivan Drago.
That's it, man. It's, I mean, we talk about storytelling all the time, and getting the fans to kind of to buy in, right? This is what I thought was going to happen, but now there's a little plot twist, and now now maybe it's not going to go the way that we thought it was going to go. They changed it up on us a little bit here, and they're going in a different direction, and it's maybe something we didn't anticipate. So that storytelling, it's invaluable, right? It has to be there. And I say it all the time. It's like, especially when it's like the babyface I never felt the babyface was in danger of losing, right? That's a lot of times that's the biggest thing that you can say about a match is like, I didn't feel like the babyface was in danger of losing. So was it really a good wrestling match, or did you guys not tell a very good story? And I would say 99% of the time it's you didn't tell a good story, right? Because there's not believability that the babyface is going to lose. So the fans are not getting, you're not building any sympathy. You're not evoking the emotion that you're looking to get out of the fans, right? Because you're not telling the story. You're too concerned with, I want to do the cool moves, right? You hit me with a couple cool moves, and I'll return fire, and I'll hit you with some of my cool moves, and we'll go out there and play phony pro wrestler.
Well, they either want to see you get your ass kicked or come back and do the ass kicking. You know what I mean? Like that's it. There's no secondary thing to that. They're not like, I want to see a triple sow cow with a double toe tapper. I want this guy to cook me a fucking fancy 10-star 10-course meal. No, they don't give a fuck about that. This guy's unstoppable. Who's gonna stop him? This guy's fucking been the champion. He's the best. We love this guy. Who's gonna fuck him over? We hate this guy. We want to watch him get his ass handed to him. Who's next to kick his ass? You got anything else, Paul? Or
just like, subscribe, share, do all those things, man. Let's grow this thing. Let's get some eyes on this bad boy. I wasn't sure what you were doing.
fucking subscribe.
All right. Fucking subscribe.